And good evening, race fans. Daytime, evening, it's the same thing, it's a day. We are here live at the Nashville Super Speedway getting ready for the Ally 400 here. Today I am Michael Norman, the voice of the Budweiser All-Pro Series, being joined up in the booth today by Mr. Seth Cole. Seth, thank you for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Love this racetrack. Love the fundamentals that it brings to the table. Super Speedway is only in the name. It really doesn't race like a super speedway. If you take turn one flat out, you will die. So, I mean, really, as a driver, I don't like this racetrack because I have to abide by those fundamentals. But I'll tell you what, being up here in the booth as a race fan, I think we're in for a good one here with these next-gen cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Should definitely be a good one here as we're looking at the Budweiser All-Pro Series playoff standings right after the race at Kansas, which saw Jessica Shelton take the win away in the last lap over, I believe it was Trent Dunham, if I'm not mistaken, which I probably am because it's been probably a couple months since I last recorded a race. As we're looking at the playoff standings right now, Jonathan Zorlan and Cody Lamas, the only two drivers with 2 wins on the season, has officially locked themselves into the playoffs. Trey Wright, Bobby Frazier, Roberto Crown Jr., Laura Chung, Anthony McCurry, Henry Sanford, Benjamin Miles, and of course Jessica Shelton now currently locked into the playoffs on wins. And then we have 6 drivers that have not quite guaranteed their spots in the playoffs but are in via points. Those are rookie Madeline Crenshaw, Cole Baker, Dylan Poteet, Charles Buxton, Samet Ozkin, and Stephen Colin. Now, Seth, if you had to keep an eye on any of those 6 drivers that are not locked in with the win yet, who would you say would be the next you would think to go to victory lane?
Oh gosh, I mean, honestly, I think that you'd have to look at either Samet Ozkan or Stephen Colin because the last thing you want to do during this portion of the season is be that last driver currently in via points. So much can happen. Another driver can go to victory lane, thus moving the cut line up a little bit further. Even here today, like I said, a tough track like Nashville Super Speedway, you end up getting involved in a wreck. There are no easy hits here. It's more than likely going to end your day and your chance at a good finish. And so you could find yourself leaving Nashville inside the playoffs, and then when you go to next week, you're outside of the playoff picture. So honestly, I think that some of those guys down there around that cut line, they want to alleviate the pressure. They want to find victory lane. They want to have that kind of worry-free sensation like you talked about Zorlan and Cody Lamas already having with their multiple wins.
Now, looking at the regular season points here, Seth, that we got to remember, for those that have a win, you have to be inside the top 25 in points for your win to count towards the playoffs. And right now, we've got 2 drivers outside the top 25.
We do. So those drivers here today, I think that you don't really worry about trying to find victory lane. You're just focused here down this home stretch on consistency. Get those points that are going to get you above that cut line. And we should mention to people too, when we showed them that playoff graphic, there are a lot of hungry drivers that are just barely outside of that playoff picture looking in. Yes, Stephen Colon right now holds that final playoff position, but he's actually tied with Colin Cropley at 341 points apiece. So literally, depending on average finish, if it came down between those two, that would be who'd get the final spot. Roberto Crowd Jr. is only 3 points behind that cut line. Nathan Norman, James Moore, Cole Deaver. I mean,
Roberto Crown has a win.
Oh, that's right. He's got a win. You're right. But, some of those other guys that I just mentioned there, they are less than 10 points behind that cut line spot. So there's a good half dozen drivers we keep an eye on here today. If they get a good finish, they could be in that 16th and final spot going into next week.
Yep, absolutely. Stage points are a thing. We've got 75 laps of racing here today, broken down into 25 laps for 3 stages. So stage points are going to be a big factor to determining these top 16. With that being said, we're going to go trackside now, get the opening ceremonies, and get this race underway.
race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome global music superstar, Kane Brown.
Drivers, y'all ready? Start your engine!
Yep, crank when you're ready. Fired up, you're ready. You can fire it up.
Engines are fired here, Seth. It's almost time for some 75 laps of racing. Here today, it's going to be an exciting and probably a very hot one here at the Nashville Super Speedway.
And that's going to be something that people might not necessarily think will factor into this race, but it certainly will, because Nashville Super Speedway, especially when it comes to long green flag runs, it's all about tire conservation. Excuse me. I mentioned about that turn 1. It is a heavy braking zone area there. Most people may not think it is, but if you wear down your tires, you're going to lose a lot of rear grip, and you're going to go way up the racetrack and lose positions as a result. The heat, the sun that has been baking this racetrack all day long, that is going to play a huge factor into who is going to be moving to the front and who is going to be falling to the back.
Completely agree. The starting lineup has been scrolling across your screen here. Matthew Rodriguez on pole, alongside of him, Charles Samper. And you know, Seth, we have a bit of a, or I should say, you guys have a bit of a running joke with Dylan Young about a certain number flipped upside down, and I think he would say the same thing for our front row here.
Yeah, I think he would too. It's a double 96 in a way. It's kind of interesting how that works out.
Yes, I agree. I hope you guys also will notice the different in the sound these cars are making now, as I guess you could say the engine got a bit of a down/upgrade in a way. These engines should sound a lot different to you guys here.
They've gotten a grade.
A grade, yep.
We don't know which direction it went.
I personally think they sound better, but we'll find out. You know, we've got 38 cars here ready to take the green flag for 75 laps of racing. Fuel strategy could come into play here, and I personally think this is going to be a great race. Here we go. Last week's winner, Jessica Shelton, starts third alongside rookie Cole Baker. But here we go. Pace car is in, getting ready. Green flag is out. We're underway here at Nashville.
It'd be the hometown boy, Matthew Rodriguez, just a stone's throw south of here, resides in Spring Hill, Tennessee. It'd be interesting to see here too, Michael, which line is going to be the preferred line. I really feel like if you're going to make passes, you're going to have to do it on the bottom. But I feel like the more comfortable lane, especially over in 1 and 2, is going to be that middle groove. It'll be interesting to see if that line continues to work its way up the racetrack the longer this run goes on and the more these tires wear.
That's true. Very, very possible as they come through the corner here. Here comes, that's RJ Bishop in the 12 car. Haven't really seen much of him lately, or up here in the front here, and he gets around Jessica Shelton. It's all Ford, your top 3.
Strong out of the gate, so that it'll be interesting to watch some of these drivers that look like they're really strong early on, if they're able to keep this momentum up. In the case there of RJ Bishop, now you see him falling prey to Jessica Shelton, who'll dive down.
Oh, caution's out already.
Oh, yep.
Oh, we have trouble. It's Henry Samfer in the 22 alongside of what looks to be Charlie Buxton here. Seems to be maybe a 2-car incident has brought out the yellow flag for the first time here today.
Adjusted there towards the back. Got to make sure they settle that out and don't wreck here under caution. And wow, we only ran what, 2 laps under green flag conditions, and they're already screaming for fresh tires.
Yeah, all except for RJ Bishop. He's deciding to stay out here.
Well, RJ never does what anybody else does.
That's true. He really doesn't. Well, as we figure out here to see what, we're going to go back and take a look and see at what happened to bring out the first caution of the day here at Nashville. All right, we're back here. Take a look and see what happened. It's 2 separate accidents, Seth, coming out of turn number 2 here. A little bit 3 wide. 51 car really gave the 20 no room.
Yeah, and at the same time, though, he was trying to stay off the 42, who was almost brushing the wall. I'm not certain he knew he was 3 wide, to be honest. I mean, Reggie Fogelman's right front was just barely to the left rear of Charlie Buxton's Mustang. That's a pretty good hit there. And then the 20 involved in another thing here, like right in the center of two incidents that covered a couple hundred feet.
Right there, just the 20 car coming back up on the racetrack. 22 could have probably have thought better of a place to go and just decided to run into the side of him. So like I said, two separate incidents here bring out the caution flag for the first time here at Nashville, and we're going to go ahead and back up for the restart here today. And we're back here getting ready for the restart. The 12 car stayed out. Everybody else came down pit road behind him. Your current top 10, RJ Bishop, Matthew Rodriguez, Seth Cole, Jessica Shelton, Nathan Orman, Colin Karopoli, Cody Lamas, Dylan Poteet, Trey Wright, and Jonathan Zorline. So Seth, it looks like a bunch of different strategies came down pit road. Maybe not everybody took tires.
Yeah, a bunch of drivers picked up some spots here on pit lane, as you mentioned. I mean, Seth Cole's now up inside of the top 5. You got the 23 up here now of Nathan Orman inside of the top 5. Poteet's up inside the top 10 for the first time today. So I think that's the same for Cropley. So yeah, might have been some fuel only, just top off the fuel tank for most of these drivers. Some of the drivers that we saw up in the top 10 here prior to the caution that aren't there anymore, they may have gone with right sides or 4 tires. So now it'll be very interesting to see who's going to move forward and who's going to fall back, because you said the strategy is definitely varied on pit road. And RJ Bishop, I mean, he got track position, but he only gained, what, 2-3 spots, I think, because he was running in second or third when that caution came out. So I don't know how much this is going to gain him. We'll see.
Well, depending on how difficult or easy it is to pass here, with the hot, slick racetrack and everything, it could very well have gained him some good momentum there.
Clean air could be very important too. Yeah, you're right.
As you see, this car's already going by. The 23 of Orman picking up a spot. Here comes Cropley down to the inside here, looking along the back here is Trent Dunham, Kyle Matthews, 2 drivers that need some good finishes here. Especially the close call that Trent's come close to winning a couple of races this. Oh wow, look at the run he got on the 17. He's come close to winning a couple of races here. Like at Charlotte, he was close to winning, I think it was the All-Star race, and then ended up getting passed on that one. And then in the Coke 600 the next week, he was close on the winning and got passed by Cody Lamas. So, you know, at one of these days, Trent will find himself back in victory lane. He's been in quite the dry spell.
Yeah, the problem for Trent Dunham, and this has been the case for a number of different drivers that are kind of hovering just outside the top 20 in points, as you can see Henry Sanford, who came into this race 3rd in overall standings and a former winner. He's going to fall at least a lap down here. But for a lot of these drivers, there's been just too much inconsistency. It's kind of been a winner-bust type of mentality for most of these drivers, and Trent fits that bill. You mentioned up in the conversation a few weeks in a row of being able to pick up a victory, but he's only got 3 top 5s in the 14 starts this season. He's 25th in the point standing. So the races that he's not been up there battling for the win, he's finished way back in the finishing results and subsequently not running where he needs to be in the point standings. So, you know, if he's able to win here today, that's one thing that he can check off of his to-do list. But at the same time, you mentioned it, got to get inside that top 20 in the points.
As you see the 22 car coming off of pit road there, it's not so far. The first 11 laps of this race has not been good for Team Penske. Other than the 12 car leading, Dylan Young back here has, for some reason, lost the pack. Like he's not up to speed or something amiss. Maybe with the engine of the 2 car, and I think we have another wreck. Oh my lord!
God.
Big wreck! Trent Dunham, we were just talking about him. Holy moly! I don't even know if that. Yep, it had to have brought out a caution. Laura Chung involved in it as well. Madeline Crenshaw again, who's the current regular season points leader.
Right.
And the caution is out again, and oh my goodness, I hope.
only caught the tail end of that, but that gave me almost Junior Steve Park vibes from Pocono.
Well,
What in the
Seth,
world?
I don't know what it is about us and commentators' curses.
Right? We got to stop talking about people.
For real. Oh my lord! Well,
What did Trent hit that sent him up in the air like that?
he had to have hit the wall at a right angle or something. I don't know,
Gosh.
but I certainly hope Trent's okay after that. So we're gonna go ahead and pause for a second. Gonna go back, take a look, and see at what happened to bring out our second caution, and be back with the restart. Well, guys, I don't really know what to tell you about this one. It seems just like a cluster. We've seen Trent Dunham make this move before. I guess he thought maybe he could get enough momentum to turn down underneath the 42, but just couldn't do it. He's already hooking the 42 right here, and then just Madeline Crenshaw just nowhere to go.
And watch this. I mean, we were watching this back several times, and the telemetry, the speed increases as they head towards the inside wall. And we already determined too, this wasn't even what brought the caution out, because when they came off the racing surface, both cars were theoretically still pointed straight. You see back there, back in the background there, that's what actually brings out the caution. We'll show you that, but goodness.
What a wild ride for Trent Dunham.
181 miles per hour, we determined, was the speed that Trent was going at the point of impact. Fortunately, that thing came back on all four wheels.
Yeah, and besides this, we're actually gonna go up and watch the 5 of Kyle Matthews right here. Something happened with the 22 car. Oh, 20 was coming out on pit road. That's right. Yeah. Coming back on the track. He was just in the middle of the pack and just right in front of the 5 of Kyle Matthews, which in turn turned the 78 of Laura Chung.
I knew that Henry Sanford was definitely off the pace, so he was obviously not up to speed when he came back onto the track, and not sure where exactly he's supposed to go. He stayed low like he was supposed to. I guess that was
No, he didn't. If you look at it very clearly, he was in the middle of traffic. Right here. Look, right there. See? He could have been a lot lower on the racetrack, but he was just right there turning down low, and Kyle just running his own line. I guess I didn't expect the 22 to be there, but I don't know. Either way, we're gonna go back up for the restart here. We've got a little bit of laps left in the first stage, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen towards the end, hopefully finishing under the green flag. So we will be right back for the restart. Well, we're back here for the restart. Looks like not a lot of positions change other than the 22 being a lap down. We've got RJ Bishop leading, Matthew Rodriguez second, Nathan Orman up to third, Seth Cole fourth, Colin Cropley fifth, Cody Lamas sixth, Dylan Poteet seventh, Jessica Shelton eighth, Cole Baker ninth, and Allie Rain rounds out the top 10. And the only 2 cars retired out of the race after the incident are the 7 of Madeline Crenshaw and the 1 of Trent Dunham, who we have heard has been released from the Airfield Care Center, and he is okay.
Thank goodness.
No whisper target found.
Yeah, 10 laps left here in this stage.
Green flag is out. The 12 car gets a nice jump. The 22 car going to stay to the inside. I just hope that nothing's going to happen to him.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to get by this 22. We know he's obviously not up to speed, and things could get wadded up. Our first, well, we can't really, I'll say first and a half cautions here today, because that last incident on the back straightaway didn't bring out the yellow, but it's kind of been getting wadded up, getting that nice entry through the center of the corner off, but the car ahead of you ends up having to check you up, and it's kind of led to pretty close 3-wide situations. I get the feeling with the 22 running as off the pace as he is, we could have another scenario like that off the second corner if they're not careful.
I hope they can kick him up high enough. Maybe it won't be that bad as you see him getting around. But he held up a lot of good cars. As we're heading back up towards the front here.
That 43, I think. Or no, I'm sorry, that was actually
Cole Baker.
Yeah, it was Cole Baker. Yeah, and that's huge for Baker in the fact that he's second in the point standings. He was licking his chops, seeing the fact the 7 went back behind the wall, thinking, hey, I could take the overall point standings here with her DNF. Is that Dylan Young?
That is Dylan Young making an unscheduled pit stop here in the number 40. In the number 42. No, he's in the number 2.
But you said that car did not look like it was up to speed. Something obviously amiss underneath the hood, and I guess they're gonna go to work, lose some more laps here to try and figure out what it is. Looks like something maybe underneath the car on that right side. Spent a little extra time jacked up there. I don't know what they would be changing. It would be on the right side of the car to help remedy the situation, but
Possible flat tire, maybe?
possibly. But I mean, they had just been to pit road a couple of laps ago, and prior to that caution, we saw that Dylan Young was running off the pace. So I almost wonder if maybe a battery. Did they swap out a battery perhaps? Might have been having some electrical problems.
And I'm not sure. Very possible. Getting closer to the end of the first stage. RJ Bishop with a good lead. over Matthew Rodriguez right now. Seems about the same. These cars running roughly about the same. Here's the battle for what I believe to be this is the 11th position here. Outside lane just kind of getting a good run. 41 car not able to quite clear the 99.
And it's going to be that way all day long here. If we get into these longer green flag runs, that outside line will be preferred. And basically, it's because of the center of the corner off. You can get back to the throttle sooner. If you're down that inside line, that right front tire heat builds up. The car wants to push through the center, and you have to bail out of the throttle to get the nose point in the right direction to get off the corners. So the inside line is going to be the way you have to make passes, but it's going to be very difficult to do
No
so.
whisper target
nobody's
found.
going to really want to go down there and have to deal with that aero tightness.
Yep, and that's what it's going to be here as we begin lap 22. Here they come approaching. This is Dylan Young.
It's interesting when Madeline Crenshaw had that incident on the backstretch and is now out of the race, because it's kind of the blessing and the curse of the playoff system as it is now, the win and you're in system. You look at a number of the drivers that are currently up there in the point standings that still have a 0 in the win column. Crenshaw is one of them. Cole Baker, Dylan Poteet. These drivers in respective order are first, second, and fourth in the point standings. But at any point, these drivers could find themselves out of the playoffs if we have more drivers inside the top 20 below them that find victory lane down this home stretch. I know in my series, there was a scenario where a driver ended up finishing first in the regular season standings, but there were 16 different winners below them that got in via win. So your regular season champ didn't even make it into the playoffs, regardless of the consistency they had in the first 26 races. So you look at drivers like Crenshaw, Baker, and Dylan Poteet, they're doing everything right. They're getting the finishes they need. It's just that checkered flag, that elusive checkered flag that's evading them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's it's just exactly as you said, as we're coming to one lap to go in stage number one. It all comes down to it's the win and you're in. We could have way over 16 different winners here, but it all comes down to where you are in points. You could be the most consistent driver out there and still not make the playoffs. So it's just one of those things where you're just hoping and praying. You're hoping a win will come soon. As RJ Bishop takes the theoretical white flag of stage number one here. He's got a decent over a second lead over now new second place, Nathan Ormond.
I don't know if it's going to be too little too late for RJ Bishop. He's had a strong car here today. The choice early on after the first caution to keep that track position and keep that clean air has obviously worked out for him. RJ coming into this race only one top 5, and he is mired down 34th in points. So even if he wins here today, he's still got quite a mountain to climb to get into the top 20 in the point standings. But, I mean, just looking at his lap times, they've been very consistent. Obviously, they've been getting slower as the tire wear is kicking in, but he's been able to maintain a pretty nice gap back there to Nathan Norman, Matthew Rodriguez in that battle for second.
All right, well, RJ Bishop once again going to cross the line after already winning stage number one. We'll be right back, take a quick commercial break, and be right back with stage number 2. All right, and we are back here at the Nashville Super Speedway. The 12th car of RJ Bishop continuing his lead here. Up next, the next stage end will be at the completion of lap number 50 here. And these cars have finally gotten to about the single file run, other than a couple of passing attempts here, as both of the RF Kit Racing cars are running side by side.
Yeah, this is where you're really going to start to have it driver versus car in terms of what you're capable of doing, how well have you preserved the tires. We saw the free-for-all at the beginning of this race, the double wide, the 3 wide. Now that things have singled out, you're going to have a couple of laps to set up the pass and then be able to try and execute said pass. So now we'll really start to get an idea of who's got the best race cars out there and who's got a little bit more work to do. And you brought up the fact of when this second stage is going to come to a close. I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe we see some of these drivers duck onto pit road prior to the stage ending, if not maybe the whole field, because I feel like drivers are going to be wanting to get some fresh tires here for the conclusion of this race, and they may have to do it before that next green and white checkered flag.
Samet Oskin just tried to make a run on Seth Cole there. You see him lose a lot of momentum. That could open the door for the 19 to try to pass him on the outside lane.
Yeah, good runs here for both of those Joe Gibbs Racing entries, Ozkan and Cropley. Obviously, Samet Ozkan came into this race, and I think it was the 15th seed via points of the current playoff standings. And Colin Cropley, he was tied with Stephen Colon for the 16th seed, obviously based off of average finish. Colon had it, but Cropley doing a great job up here inside of the top 10. We've not yet seen the 31 of Cologne anywhere towards the top 10 today. So we may have an exchange for that final seed if we do not have a driver inside the top 20 go to victory lane here today. There you see the 31 of Cologne.
18th position currently on the racetrack right now. So, you know, it's like you said, too. I feel like depending on pit strategy and when they need to come down pit road or not, pit strategy could be the definition of who wins this race. As you see, look, we have a battle for what looks to be the 4th position now. Maybe 3rd position.
It's 3rd, I think, yeah.
Oh,
something happened to Matthew Rodriguez. I don't know what exactly it was, but all of a sudden, Hendrick Chevrolets have ganged up on him. Both Cole and Lamas have gotten around his 66, and now he's under fire from the JGR Toyotas.
Seth Cole gonna pick up 2 positions here, but look at the run that Cody Lamas gets off the corner.
Huge. Oh,
here we go, pit stops.
Look at that. All right, so this is coming to the completion of lap 33. Remember, we went back green on the completion of lap 15, so that's about 18 laps that most of these drivers that are coming to pit road have gone on a tank of fuel. Obviously that can't be the fuel window. It might be like the latter portion of the window, but we've got others that are staying out. So this may be a short pit strategy. Some drivers may be electing to do 2 pit stops for the remainder of this race. Others might be thinking about doing 1.
We'll see if anybody else decides to stay out. And it looks like everybody is coming down pit road except for the, oh, no.
No, 14's in. Dylan Young's going to stay out because he had that unscheduled stop.
Yep, so I guess we're looking at this group here to see who will be the first to come out of pit road. Yeah.
18 laps, 19 laps, roughly the fuel window for these guys, it would appear. And also, too, when it's single filed out, that may have actually shortened the distance these drivers could go also, because you're not creating nearly as much draft and you're using up a lot more fuel with the split up and a lot more clean air to the nose. So bear that in mind as well. The fuel window may actually get smaller than the 18 to 19 laps that we're projecting right now, just based off of what we've seen.
Look at the big gap that RJ has opened up, though, right here for now. We'll have to wait and see. This was about the gap it was. We'll see where the 23 car comes off of pit road at.
Well, RJ had a good qualifying effort, if I'm not mistaken, so he had a pit stall up close to the exit of pit road, so that might have also helped him to be able to gap himself back to 2nd place, which looks like it's going to be Nathan Ormond in the 23.
And he's got to end it. Best part is RJ has a teammate right behind him in a slower car of Dylan Young.
Right.
But yeah, these opened up a really big gap. Probably, I'm going to have to guess and say probably at least 2.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds, I was close.
Yeah, you just got the more important part wrong. You got the whole number wrong. You got the fraction right.
As he quickly gets around Dylan Young. So I guess you could say that 23 has about one lap fresher tires than the race leader, but will that come into play?
I don't know exactly what happened, but the biggest loser on this exchange, we'll wait until they cross the line here again, just in case maybe everything hasn't cycled around, but I do not see our pole sitter, Matthew Rodriguez, in the 66 inside the top 10 now. He had fallen back to about 5th, 6th position prior to the pit stops, and now he's nowhere to be seen inside the top 10. Man, he's back in a hornet's nest here, as is Colin Cropley. The 66 and the 19 both lost a ton of track position on this pit stop.
Yeah, well, it was a very, very busy pit road. You know, these cars, it's a little hard to pull out of their pit stop when they still got cars double wide on pit road trying to pass them.
I talk about the fact that, you know, this racetrack is hot, it is slick. pit road is slick as well. The pit road itself is asphalt. The pit stalls are concrete. And so there is a difference in terms of the transition from one to the other in terms of grip. If you slide your tires, overshoot your pit stall, that's going to cost you track position as well. So that might be something that a couple of these drivers that were up inside of the top 10 might have had to deal with there when they came down for their green flag pit stop subsequently. They're now fighting back in deep traffic outside the top 10.
Yes, they are. As you see here, Nathan Ormond, 23XI racing driver here. He's cut it down about 5/100ths of a second that lap. We'll
So
see
on
if
the flip side, who was actually good on pit road? Two drivers I see in particular that executed very well to get themselves upside the top 10. 77 of Christina Bell, now in the 9th position. And how about Anthony McCurry? 6th in the overall standings. Driver right now sitting in a playoff position with his win.
in
And
the Daytona 500,
in
yeah.
the 500, yeah. And so he's right now in that 10th position. So good job by a couple of Chevrolet Camaro teams there.
Yeah, if you think about it, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all Chevys right now. Battle for what looks to be 3rd place back here. Seth Cole trying to hold on. Semet Ozkin trying to take it, as well as Jonathan Zorline, who snuck his way into the top 10 here. One of our only 2 drivers with 2 wins on the season.
Well, you saw Seth Cole was able to get back to the throttle. He pinned the 11 down, did not let Semet Ozkin to get back to the throttle.
Ooh,
I honestly thought for a moment, though, the way that Ozkin drove it into turn 1, he was going to be able to slide up and complete the pass. So, testing the waters there is that FedEx Toyota.
So yeah,
Fresh tires, might as well do it now while you've got the grip.
I was gonna say yeah, and he look at him just dive it off into the corners. So he's really gaining a lot of entry, but unfortunately it's affecting his exit.
That's just going to continue to wear those tires down too. It's going to hurt him on the long run. But again, I mean, if you're going to experiment and see if you can make a pass on the inside, might as well do it now while you've got the fresh tires. Try and preserve what you've got, I guess, the longer the run goes on, and not get eaten up if anybody was conserving their good years behind you.
Well, the 23 has cut the gap down to almost a second.
Really has. And if he continues to get closer, he will get the slipstream off the back of the 12. The front and back straightaways are very long, so it's a big opportunity to be able to get draft and be able to produce a run. We've mentioned it's hard to pass, but it's not that difficult to be able to reel a driver in. Caution! I think I just saw the flag.
Yep.
Yellow.
Caution is out. Oh, truck on the backstretch, the 42. Bobby Frazier, but it was another car. Oh, that's Jose Mills. Smoking that number 18 car. That's a Joe Gibbs racing car. Let's hope he didn't blow a motor and it was just part of the racing accident.
42 came to a stop on the back straightaway. Couldn't even refire that Chevrolet.
12 car is going to take the caution flag with 6 laps left in the stage, and I wonder if maybe we'll go back racing under the stage, or if the stage might end under yellow.
I think we will barely get back. It'll be maybe a 1-lap shootout, at most a green-white checkered, if you will, a 2-lap shootout. The big question is, do you come to pit road? I would think you'd have to, right? You'd rather pit now rather than under green flag conditions later on.
And here they come. Let's see if anybody stays out. The 15 car stays out. I believe he is on the maybe we'll see. Is he on the lead lap? No, he's not.
No, he's not.
So it looks like none of the lead lap cars are staying out. We're gonna cut back, take a look, and see what happened to bring out the caution, and be back for the restart. We're back here watching the 42 of Bobby Frazier and Seth. This is just very odd. He slows down in it to get in the corner, then it just never accelerates again.
No smoke, so I'm going to assume, since this was over in 1 and 2, that he may have money shifted. Sometimes drivers will try and go from 4th gear down to 3rd gear, try and pick it back up to 4th gear, get that rear grip with those tires to get a nice launch off of 2. And my guess is he probably missed a shift, may have blown the motor. And look at that, Jose Mills, nowhere to go. It looked like there was space between the 42 and the outside wall, but just not enough, and it completely shredded that left front fender off the Interstate Batteries Toyota Camry.
Yeah, that's very odd. Like I'm curious to know what happened to the 42. Could he have tied up the clutch or something, or maybe it was something electrical.
The one thing we know it wasn't was fuel, because these drivers were still about 9 laps away from when they would have had to come back to pit road. There's no way you could have completely messed up not fueling the car correctly on that last green flag pit stop. So that definitely was not the reason. So to your point, had to have been something under the hood.
Keeping an eye on the number 12 car here. He is scheduled to be one of the first cars out. And look at Christina Bell. Ooh, that was Christina. Another great pit stop for the 77 team.
Yeah, they picked up 8 spots right there on pit road. I don't know if it was through strategy or not. I would assume maybe it was. Might have gone with just right sides, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Seth, we still got, about another 30-ish laps to go right now. Yeah, 30 laps to go right now as they run, coming to 29 at the line, so...
But more importantly, we've got a shootout here for the stage, and Christina Bell comes into this race 31st in points, so might be playing strategy to get every position, every point possible here at the end of stage 2 to try and get closer to that top 20 in points.
That is also very true as well. We're going to kind of wait and see. We're going to accelerate here, see if we are indeed going back racing, and it looks like we are. It's going to be, like you said, Seth, a 2-lap shootout. And the 18 is out of the race completely because of the accident, but still nothing on the number 42. It just shows 2 laps down for the 42 car. Let's see if he's running. So Seth, I don't know. I wonder what could have happened. Maybe it was something. Maybe he might have.
No whisper target found.
Maybe he accidentally hit the kill switch or something.
Could have been. Could have very well been. Could have been the battery died and they just swapped it out here. I don't know.
Well, we're going to have 2 laps to settle this until the end of stage number 2. It's been all RJ Bishop since the green flag, give or take, once he got past the 66, that is.
Obviously had the strongest car, but I'm going to be interested to see here, if the 23 can dispose of Christina Bell. It was looking like near the end of that run, like Nathan Ormond was closing in on RJ Bishop, so he might be just a little bit better. We'll see if he's going to be able to keep that fight going here as we go back under green.
Green flag is out right in the restart zone. Looks like the 15 car is up to speed. He might have gotten caught by the caution like on pit road. So
could also have been. You talked about how congested.
Oh,
pit
look at
road
this!
was.
Battle for battle for the lead. Here comes Christina Bell to the inside. The 12 car got a little had to bail out of the throttle for some reason, and now it's the 77 car is going to take over the lead.
Remember, when the 15 got up in front of the 12, that's the first time pretty much all day that RJ Bishop has dealt with dirty air, so...
Has something happened with the 12? He's losing a second spot now to the 24. Last lap of stage number 2. Stage number 2.
And Cole is clear. Now the 23 way up the track there. I think the 12's just having a handling problem. I think that car was set up for clean air. And now that he's back in traffic, it's not handling the way that it did.
Wow, in an unfortunate turn of events for RJ Bishop, it's going to be Christina Bell that's going to take the green checkered flag for stage number 2.
How about that? Made that call on pit road, gained 8 spots on the pit stop, and is going to get 10 stage points. Now might be when we'll start to see a free fall, but I guess mission accomplished, getting the stage win.
We're going to take another quick commercial break. Be right back with stage number 3 and the rest of this race here at Nashville.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
We're back here at the Nashville Super Speedway. RJ Bishop lost a lot of ground on the restart here and cost him the stage win, Seth, but here he is back in second. Look right on the back bumper of Seth Cole.
Yeah, first time we've seen the 24 out in front, the 12 and the 23 in second and third. They've really been the two pacing this field. And I'm going to say, Michael, I think the 77, Christina Bell, I think they went with fuel only because the way that she's dropping back, I think that they didn't take any tires on. But when we were during that commercial break, we observed the fact, good run here today so far for both the front row motorsports cars. Trey Wright's been up in the top 10 most of the day, but how about teammate James Qualls up there now in the 7th spot?
Yeah, James Qualls up here now. We just watched the 8 car might have gotten a little bump there from the 38 car, got real loose. And has lost now 2 spots here, and both the front row cars. You always seem to find them in the top 10 in most of these races.
Maybe Trey Wright's figured it out. Maybe that's how you got to make a pass on the inside. Just shove that other car to the top or something.
I don't know, but here comes Jovan Anderson in the number 9. Brand new to Hendrick Motorsports this season when Jessica Shelton made the switch from Hendrick to Stuart Haas Racing. So rookie Jovan Anderson taking over that 9 car this season. Meanwhile, back up at the front here, they've gotten around that 15 car, put the 15 back a lap down now, and look at Semet Ozkin. He's desperate for a win. He's winless in his Budweiser All Pro Series career right now, and here he is now taking over what looks to be the 3rd position away from the 41.
What did I say at the top of the program? Drivers down there in the 15th and 16th seeds of the playoffs coming into this race, Semet Ozkan and Stephen Colon. They were going to be in desperation mode here today if they were down where they're positioned, because you don't want to be that last driver on the cut line. Semet Ozkan was in the 15th seed. He's done a terrific job here today, slowly working his way to the front. He might have something to say about this race victory. He's again been one of those consistent drivers up inside the top 5 today in terms of speed.
Yeah, he really has been. If we look over at the fastest laps of the race so far, Jessica Shelton still has the fastest, but I mean, the 24 and the 11 have the 9th and 10th fastest lap of the race so far, and it's RJ that has the 6th fastest. Oh, look at Semet Ozkan. He just made the move for 2nd place.
And that was through 1 and 2. That tells me a lot right there. He's obviously figured something out. But they've done a tremendous job of adjusting on that race car. If you can make a pass through 1 and 2 like he just did, you're winning this race. No questions asked, because nobody else is going to be able to run down there to defend you.
And we'll see if indeed he can catch the 24 before. Remember, Seth, though, I'm pretty sure we still have at least one more pit stop before the end of this race.
Guaranteed going to have at least one more pit stop. That is for absolute certain. The question is, will it be under green? We've seen a green flag pit stop today, or seen a couple of interesting cautions here as well when we thought that we'd stay under green flag conditions. And look at another driver. You talk about the pressure for Semet Ozkan. There's no pressure for 4th place driving Jonathan Zorla in that 41. He and Cody Lamas, the only 2 drivers so far this season with multiple victories. Well, actually now he's in 5th. As Orman makes the pass on him, but Jonathan Zorlin, we haven't talked much about that 41 car, but he's just out here for a nice little Sunday drive trying to see if he can be the first 3-time winner on the year.
He really has. Can't count out a lot of these drivers. We're starting to see the cars make a lot of gain as we have 16 laps to go, and Seth, now you got to start thinking, if we're not going to see another yellow. Oh, he's got real close. Anthony said, if you're going to bump me around, boys, I'm going to bump you right back.
I'm here.
I'm dead. I can't wait to see when these cars are going to start coming down pit road. Look at this, Seth. The gap is closed.
It has, and the draft has come into play with this a little bit. The 11's been able to get that toe, get that slipstream off the back of the 24 on these long straightaways. The good news about something like that is you're able to close the gap. The bad news is you're going to be entering into turn 1 and turn 3 about maybe 3 to 5 miles per hour faster than you were when you were running by your lonesome. So you have to compensate for that.
Yep, you've got to adapt. Adapt to how your car is handling and hope to God it doesn't handle too bad. And
hope it turns.
Yeah, I hope it turns. I wonder when we're going to start seeing pit stops from these drivers.
We went back
green,
lap 48.
Yep.
Gone about, we we might be on the eve of pit stops right here. Yeah, we're closing in on the 10 to go window. I'd say probably within the next 5 laps, we'd probably see these guys on pit road.
And if you think about it, the later they come down pit road, the less they got to take. They can kick fuel only and hope that their tires hold up enough.
But that doesn't matter. That really doesn't matter at this point, because I think you've got to go with 4 tires.
I guess we'll find out if there's going to be any type of strategy call, because for all we know, these front two have pulled away from the 23 and the 41 car.
Well,
gosh, he is so close on the. He is really.
Pit road this time. We ran. No, maybe not.
Nope, no one's coming to pit road yet this time. But man, the 11 is really diving it into these corners. He is
and I'm
pushing
actually gonna amend my previous statement. Maybe you don't need 4 fresh tires because Christina Bell has been able to hold court in 6th position. We saw her drop like a rock after she won the 2nd stage outside of the top 5, but she's been able to keep McCrory, Lamas, Anderson at bay. So I don't know what the differential is on the laps on her tires to the cars behind her, but good job on her to be able to hold that spot for the moment. So maybe with what you're saying, if we end up having the pit stops with the 10 to go mark, maybe you can hold off the rest of the field for 10 laps. I don't know. Ooh, how brave are you? I think Bell might have come to pit road, Michael. I think the 77, or either that or she got freight train. She just dropped down to 9th. On the running order.
Still no indications for coming to pit road yet. Oh, never mind. The 15 and the 5 are on pit road here. 5 or 10 laps to go now, Seth. Now is going to be the key. Wow, he is really diving it off into these corners, that 11 car.
He really is. I think he's got one of the best handling race cars in the field right now. And whenever the 24 dives... Oh, here we go. Wow. I love this. I love this by the 11. Pit the same lap as the 24. Keep him in front of you. Know what he's doing.
And there's
Don't split the laps.
2 cars that stay out. Jovan Anderson and the 45 of Benjamin Miles, who also has a victory this season. Now, if only my camera would work properly. There we go. Now, Seth, these cars that stay out more, they could take less of them than what the guys are coming down pit road for.
Yeah, they could take less fuel. They will be at a slight disadvantage on the out lap because drivers that pitted the lap prior, they'll have their tires up to temperature. But maybe we've got enough laps where that won't make a difference.
All right. And Seth Cole and the 11 car come out at just about the same amount right here.
Yeah, I think Cole got a little bit of a gap. I mean, Smedowski was right on Cole's bumper on the access road coming to pit lane.
Well, there's still
Gonna
plenty
be
of
about
laps.
4 or 5 car lengths, but still within draft distance, I do believe, for Smedowski.
And if the 11...
And again, I think that of the 11 has the best handling race car out of the 2.
Now let's hope... I wonder if they just took a splash and go for most of these. We'll have to see here.
Jonathan Zorlin moved up to 3rd.
There goes.
See if he can reel in the top 2.
There they go past the car, the 9 and the 14 back there. So 24 is going to resume the lead, and the 11 car's got to chase him back down.
And what adjustment did they make on the 24 maybe to try and get him a little bit better to keep the 11 car at bay? That'll be interesting to see as well. Only a handful of laps left here, too, so if you're Samet Ozkan, you cannot wait. You cannot be conservative. You've got to go hard every lap. And that 41's closing in, Michael. We could have a 3-man dance here for this win.
And we very well could, actually. Yep, about a second and 1.2 seconds behind these two. And if these two get racy, that'll bring them right up into the picture here. And I'm telling you, the 11 is so desperate for a win right now, Seth, that I think he's going to go for it.
I think he is too. I think if he's within striking distance, he's not going to care. He's going to drive it deep into the corner, whether it be turn 1 or turn 3, and hope that it sticks. It's kind of feast or famine right now for him, as you mentioned, with the position he's in currently in the playoffs. And you know what? I think if we're looking for pit crew of the day, it's got to be the 8 team, right? McCrory's now up to the 4th position. We saw them gain a number of spots on pit lane during the last round of green flag pit stops. They've done it again and put the Daytona 500 winner up inside the top 5.
All right, coming up onto some lap cars here. This is going to...
This is not good if you're the 24 because all your clean air advantage is gone.
Yep, and not only that, we'll see where he can... Oh, look at this right there. Dylan Young going to come up right in front.
Inside line's open.
Oh, they're going to try it. He's going to try it.
And watch the 41 as these guys stay side by side. Zorlin's going to close in.
And the 11 of Semet Oskan's going to get around the 24 car. Now will the 42 do the same thing? 4 laps to go this time by. The 11's going to go right underneath the 42.
That was a great spot for Semet Oskan to be able to make that pass on the straightaway before they got to the corner.
Here we go, Seth. You can throw a blanket over all 3 of them.
Boy, the 41 of Zorlin had to bail out, though. Got really tight through the center of 1 and 2. He's going to lose ground, so now it's the 11 and the 24.
And I got the 78 car in front of them, but it's only 1 car, so if they can catch her at the right spot, she's not going to be a factor.
And they will catch her before this race is over, too.
Through the corner, or excuse me, tri-oval into turn number 1. Heavy braking, as you always say right here. Ooh, Seth had to kind of bail out of the throttle right there too, but the 11 car maybe had to do it right at corner exit.
Thought the 24 might get a better exit because of bailing out earlier on the entry of turn 1, but that was not the case. You can see Seth Cole changing his lineup. He just moved about a half groove higher than Semet Oskan that time through 3 and 4, but it gained him nothing.
2 laps to go for the number 11, and now the 11's going to catch the 78 car, not at a good spot here, and it's going to bring them all back into contention.
Now Seth Cole can't get back to the throttle because he's got the 78 to the outside.
Oh, that could have been Seth Cole's last attempt right there. Oh, I don't know. I spoke too soon.
3 and 4, I think.
He's got to stay in the throttle. He's got to stay.
Through the center. He lifted through the center.
White flag. 1 lap to go here at Nashville.
The Met's been one of the best here in 1 and 2. If he can just nail these first 2 corners, I don't think there's anything Seth Cole can do.
Ooh, Seth stayed on the gas. He stayed on it. He stayed on it. Here we go.
The back bumper.
Here he goes. He's going to the inside.
Can Semet defend? Oh, he ran it too wide.
Oh, Seth.
Sights up in the light gray.
Seth Cole's going to get past the 11, and it's going to be Seth Cole taking the checkered flag at Nashville.
That was probably the best 1 and 2 Seth Cole had all race, and it mattered the most at that point in time. Wow.
Sometimes I love these races.
I mentioned it, Nashville, you move around, you try and find the grip. You have to adjust your strategy going into turn 1 especially. We saw 3 drivers right there that absolutely had to do that based on what position they were running.
Absolutely.
I honestly feel Nashville Superspeedway gets a bad rap in terms of the racing that there is because it's so spread out, but even the side-by-side battles, the 1v1 battles for position, they are exciting to watch at this racetrack.
Yeah, they really are. As you see, Henry Sanford, the race is official now. Let's go get the official race results here. Seth Cole earning the victory. Jonathan Zorline just barely got around the 11 for 2nd place at the start-finish line. I'm going to export these results.
Look at some of the names that popped up here late. Mentioned Anthony McCurry up there in the 4th position, but where in the world did Benjamin Miles come from? 23-11, going to get 5th and 6th behind his teammate Nathan Orman. Great showing for that Camry team.
Absolutely. Christina Bell, Jovan Anderson, RJ Bishop, the strongest car, what seemed like of the day, finishes 9th.
When he was
Cody
out
Lamas,
in Clean Air, that is.
Yeah. You know, what, to a 1-stage win, a 3rd place finish, and then a 9th place finish. So that's not too bad for RJ in terms of points-wise.
Allie Rain, just outside the top 10, but more importantly, remember, she's a former winner this season, trying to get back up in the top 20 in points, was 30th in the standings, so a decent outing to maybe try and get closer to that cut line for her victory to count towards a playoff spot. Benjamin Miles as well, up there in that top 10 finishing position. He was 22nd in points, so a couple of former winners trying to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yep, absolutely. As you continue to go down here, you know, you got outside pole sitter Charles Sanford. Tough break for him, falling all the way back to the 21st position after starting
Never
second.
really talked much about him outside of the start of the race, did we?
No, not really. And that's the one thing that sucks really about it is, you know, so you start good, but you just have a bad day. You got those to have a good day, and then you got those to have a bad day. And unfortunately for Charles, this is a bad day for him.
In Cologne down there in 20th. Trying to find where Cropley finished. He was 22nd.
Yep, Baker 23rd.
I think Nathan Ormond might actually be up in that. Well, actually, yeah, because I don't know if Seth Cole's win today would put him in the top 20 in points. He was 29th, so if he doesn't move into the top 20 in points, that final spot in the playoffs might be Nathan Ormond with his good performance today. We'll have to wait and see because, of course, too, I think Benjamin Miles worked his way back up into the top 20 in the point stands, and he is a former winner.
Yep, so we're going to have to wait and see, but the toughest break of the day include Madeline Crenshaw and Trent Dunham, and I mean, Trent, oh my gosh.
That's obvious, in my opinion, based off of my my limited knowledge of this racetrack and sim racing, that's maybe one of the biggest hits I've seen taken at Nashville Superspeedway.
Absolutely. Well, Seth, thank you so much for joining me here, and well, I'm going to let you go celebrate in Victory Lane with your clone that drove that car today.
Yeah, it's very weird when you end up having your sim racing driver end up winning a race that you're broadcasting in. Obviously it happened live. It's not rigged. Don't call me out.
I'm calling you out.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I had a blast up here in the booth. Nashville Superspeedway is a track that I've just recently started growing an appreciation for, and this race just continuing to increase my appreciation for it. It was a very exciting finish down to the wire there.
Yeah, absolutely, it was a very good finish again. Congratulations to Seth Cole and Cement Oskin. If you're out there watching, which I know you are, because you comment on my videos almost all the time, so I appreciate that. So close, man, so close. It was very close. I was rooting for you inside. I promise I was. But,
I'm not gonna lie, I was too, actually.
Very, very, very close. Third place finish, nothing to be ashamed about. Top 3, good podium finish. If we were doing this FRN style, we'd be bringing you up here for an interview. But thank you guys so much for
in the playoffs right now, as far as I can see.
That's true. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Actually, speaking of next time, I gotta pull up my schedule here so I can write down the winner. Nashville. We're going to New Hampshire next week.
Have you ever stopped to wonder what the Old Hampshire was?
No, I don't. I try not to think. I try not to think about it too much. It hurts my brain.
It probably was a racetrack where you could actually pass.
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, if it's a Nashville or New Hampshire that I've been testing, I got a couple of New Hampshire tracks I'm going to test out and see which one has better racing. But Seth, let me tell you, there's 5 races left in the regular season, and let me tell you what they are.
Okay.
We've got New Hampshire next week.
Right.
We've got Sonoma the week after that.
Okay. Road course aces have that circled.
Then we go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the oval track.
Okay, that's definitely a bit of a wild card race. Could be strategy, pit strategy.
And then we go to Phoenix. Because Phoenix used to be my season finale, but I picked a better track for, well, I can't say a better track, a different track for the finale this year.
Take that, Phoenix. I found something better than you.
I don't know, Seth. You've called a season finale at Phoenix once.
No, we have. That's true. That's true.
And then the regular season finale at Daytona.
Yep. Everyone's dead.
Yep, because it's going to rain. Well, so that's going to be something to look forward to. Once again, congratulations to Seth Cullen winning. Points and the regular season points and playoff points will be after the video here. My name is Michael Norman, and for Seth Cole, I will say, until we meet again.